This is a podfic of With a Crowbar, I Scream at God by Solitary Bird, narrated by Solitary Bird. This fic is rated T for the Valar being assholes and refusing to call Sauron by his chosen name. The Valar catch Sauron trying to open the doors of night with a crowbar. They aren't impressed but knew this was going to happen eventually. Sauron isn't the type to sit idly by and do nothing. After all, he and Melkor were married despite everyone's refusal to actually acknowledge that as a fact. It's uncomfortable. None of the other Valar agree with the deceit in the seduction of Mairon. It doesn't matter that Sauron, as he keeps telling that this is his preferred name now, sees no problem with Morgoth. Really, you're going to call your own brother by the name that elves are calling him? Really? Sauron snarls as he picks up the bent crowbar and simply just bends it back into its usual shape with his bare hands. Everyone stares at Aule, hoping that he'll do something about his former student, but he's wearing this stupid dwarf cosmetic skin and surrounded by prayers that he's actually taking the time to read and answer. There's no chance of his taking over dealing with this problem, and he's really not worried in the slightest that Mairon will actually be able to get through the door in any perceivable way either. Sauron doesn't think that Melkor did anything wrong, at least not during the course of his seduction, dating. Anyway, there had been several rants on this topic which they had all been forced to sit through during the trial. Apparently Sauron was insisting that Melkor had only lied about his name and being a Maiar, which he'd done to not intimidate Mairon with his bad reputation. Varda still didn't believe that to be the case, but she was of them all the most suspicious of the one that they had called brother. Sauron didn't see why any of the Valar should litigate Melkor for something he didn't see as a crime. Well, you wouldn't see it, would you? He's bewitched you, Varda had said rather arrogantly, now that they looked back on it. Can you try him for the crimes he's actually done? There's plenty enough of them for you to choose from, and I will not stop you from doing so. But I will not abide you lying about things he has not done, Sauron had cried from the defence. A lot of screaming had followed afterwards, so much so that the elves had started gathering to see what was going on, and that had been highly embarrassing. The crowbar bent again as Sauron tried to lever it with his entire body weight. He swore loudly. The sound echoed in the silence surrounding them. For safety reasons, the doors of night were located in an area of the world impossible for the children to reach, desolate, surrounded by the sea. Even the waves that washed up against the base they sit upon make no noise here. All is usually silent. Namo has talked, though, of a sound that sometimes can be heard seeming to come from beyond the door, a sound that must be Melkor's rage-filled screams. Mairon picks up the crowbar, but when he attempts to bend it back, it succumbs to metal fatigue and snaps in half. The gathered Valar sigh in relief, but then he pulls from out of some personal pocket dimension another one. I didn't think a ferrous alloy would do the job anyway, Sauron whispers beneath his helm, before he bites the inside of his lip hard enough for it to hurt. Titanium. Titanium alloy will be stronger. Manwë steps in between Sauron and the door. I'm going to have to ask you to stop this madness. I'm going to have to ask you to get out of my way. Sauron merely steps around him, spinning this crowbar between the fingers of his left hand. It makes a soft clink every time it makes contact with the ring he wears there, metal against metal. Not the ring whose shape and purpose grows clearer in his mind every day, but one that was given willingly and received joyously. His own gift to his love in return had been earrings, simple mithril studs, the first he'd made when the world had been young and ears themselves had been more of a concept than, well, the designs they'd come up with were pretty wild when he thought of them now. The ears of the children were considerably more functional, but equally just as boring. What are you going to do? Sentence me to the void? Oh, we'd never do something like that. You've never done anything so bad as that, Manwë says, despite the ominous feeling that started rolling over him. The titanium alloy bends as Sauron's full body throws it at the doors, which resound with a thunk noise, and the rattling chains. Fuck you. Fuck Eru. Fuck your fucking stupid birds. Fuck your hypocrisy. Sauron screams in plainly red frustration and leaves. It's 2 ages later when they all stand in the same place again, opening the doors to send him out into the night. Sauron smiles. He's finally deemed bad enough for them to give up on. The door opens, pulled by Namor, Nienna, Tulkas, and Aule in tandem, revealing the void for the second time. No one had to chain him up or throw him in there. Sauron walked in willingly. "It didn't have to be like this," Varda said. "No, it didn't," replied Sauron, his voice deadly calm. 3 ages of the world have passed with them apart, but when Sauron finds Melkor floating in his original form, none of that matters. Here they have each other. Here they have forever. Author's note: I wrote a lot of weird fics this November. Melkor Sauron is a ship that I've never written before, but the visual of Sauron trying to crowbar open a nether portal came into my mind and demanded it to be written. Legitimately, the image I have in my head for the Doors of Night is one of those nether portals you see just hovering in the air over the sea. Look forward to a lot of weird premise fics from me in the future. The end.